A warm welcome to all our distinguished guests today. And thank you for joining the University of Stellenbosch Business School Alumni Association in this auspicious event. Special welcome as well to all institutional partners. Today we celebrate success, achievement, and excellence. We recognize the success of the University of Stellenbosch Business School alumni. As you know, our business school alumni network is made up of almost 30,000 graduates who have achieved success in managerial and leadership positions across the world. As you know as well, the University of Stellenbosch Business School is the first business school in Africa to have received the internationally recognized Triple Crown accreditation. With these accreditation, you can be assured that we are one of the best business schools globally, and our teaching and learning standards are of global repute. Ladies and gentlemen, since 1989, the University of Stellenbosch Business School Alumni Association has recognized 24 trailblazers who continue to embody the values of the University of Stellenbosch Business School across all walks of life. This, of course, is the highest honor given to alumni of the business school on behalf of the Alumni Association, and formally recognizes all alumni who are trailblazers in both the private and public sector, in entrepreneurial ventures, as well as many who are stewards of society. And now, this is a proud moment as well for Stellenbosch University Business School to hand over, as Christelle has said, the awards to 3 alumni of the year for 2019 and 2020. We equally as well celebrate the leadership journeys of 3 previous winners, as well as our president of the Alumni Association as well, who is also a previous winner. This, of course, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, will have been an in-person gala event. But as you know, due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the associated restrictions, we are pivoting to this engaging virtual celebration. To continue this conversation, do remember as well that you can connect with us on Twitter. We have a Twitter handle at Stellenbosch USB, at USB Alumni. We are also on LinkedIn at University of Stellenbosch Business School. And the hashtag for today to keep the conversation going is hashtag USB Leadership. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it brings me an incredible honor as well to introduce the head of the school, Professor Mark Smith. As you know, Mark Smith is the director of the business school. He was previously faculty dean at Grenoble École de Management in France as Professor Human Resource Management, where he was also director of the doctoral school, head of department, and research team leader. Prior to working in France, he worked at the Manchester Business School in the United Kingdom. His research interests are quite wide. He has interest on careers, on gender, labor market policy, outcomes, working conditions, working time, and work-life integration. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Professor Mark Smith to give his words of encouragement. Professor Smith.
Thank you so much. It's a very nice welcome, and I'm very honored to be here. It's somewhat strange that we still find ourselves online, and I'm sure alongside you, we're looking very much forward to present in person, and yet again we find ourselves in these challenging time online. But we are moving closer to being in person. We've been working in person in the school for the last few months, even though now we face a few new challenges. This time last year, I was just starting with the business school, but still stranded in France. And so it seems like a long journey of transition to this new environment. But that's just a personal challenge at my side. I think it's important that we recognize how individuals, families, organizations, wider societies face major challenges this year. And as we struggle with the consequences of the pandemic, of the economic implications, the implications for individuals' health and their job securities, etc. I think that means it's really, there's never been a time that's more important for responsible leadership, the responsible leaders that we are committed to creating and developing in the business school have never been in more demand. As Dr. Mbava said, we're a triple accredited school. We're the first triple accredited school in Africa. This coming year, 2022, we will have the revision of 2 of those accreditations. So again, we're in pushing the quality standards and remain and the demands on us to remain in that elite league of business schools. But that means we're also one of the lucky schools. We're the lucky schools of privilege we're able to rely on a reputation of being a leading school, of the resources that are associated with that, of the reputation of our academics and our alumni, like yourselves, that go forth and carry the reputation for the work we do. I think that also means that we, as a privileged school, we also have responsibilities and obligations to wider society. And that's where I like to think of this, doing that through responsible leadership. Now, we do that in the business school through a number of ways. This last year, we've been contributing to capacity building among other business schools on the African continent, where we can share our expertise in terms of teaching and learning and research, so that we can raise the bar for all African business schools. Because there's no point us being the leading schools being further away from those others. So we try to imagine the tide raising all of the boats rather than just creating a bigger gap with others. I think also we carry our responsible leadership mantra through to the work we're doing. Last week we had the Small Business Academy graduation, where we were very proud to see 14 small businesses flourish in and around the townships of the Western Cape. And we repeated that in the Eastern Cape, and also particularly in Stellenbosch this year as well, as our commitment to providing management education at all levels. But really, these are actions that we can do as an organization, and as a relatively small number of people in the business school. We have our biggest impact through our alumni, through our alumni going forward as responsible leaders to have an impact in their organizations, in their communities, in their societies, on their own careers. And I think that's what we should be perhaps most proud of, and that's why we're here today to celebrate. There's been a lot of last decade and a half, there's a lot of concern about the role of business schools. What are they doing? How can we have crises like the financial crisis, or other ethical challenges and misdemeanors in business life? How can we reconcile that with the role of business schools? So the elite education, the quality education that we provide comes with those obligations. To think about the relevance, to think about the ethics of our leaders, so our graduates go on to be kind of beacons of ethical and responsible behavior in the organizations that they find themselves in. And that's why we rely on you as our alumni to carry those things forward. One thing that I've been deeply touched by since arriving in South Africa, but not even before that, is people's deep attachment to the business school. I've met students who've come to South Africa as international visitors for a semester, or for half a semester, or for a little bit longer, and they have a deeper attachment to Stellenbosch Business School and the Western Cape than they do with their home school. There's something that the faculty, the colleagues, the environment in the Stellenbosch area promotes, stimulates in people's attachment to the school, and I think that's a wonderful resource for us, and it's a wonderful testament to the commitment of my colleagues to the work they do. But that's also a resource for us to go on and promote responsible leadership, to have an impact upon wider society, not just through the 7 alumni of the year that are around the table with us today, not just through the 24 alumni of the year that we've awarded over time, but we'd like to say through all of our alumni going forward and having an impact. Having an impact as responsible leaders, to have a vision about what they'd like to do to make the world just that little bit better, to recognize that they're a citizen of different communities, different societies that they find themselves in, but also think of themselves as a kind of servant to those communities or to their colleagues in order to provide a space or an environment that they can that others can thrive. And finally, that they can think of themselves as stewards for the environment, for climate, stewards for creating a space where people can grow and develop, where perhaps we can reduce inequalities or provide opportunities for others, as well as developing the organizations with which they find themselves in, whether that's in the corporate sector, in small businesses, in the public sector, or in not-for-profits. We're committed to having that sense of stewardship across all of those different those different domains. So it's a great privilege for me to be here today for this Alumni of the Year event. Great privilege to stand on the shoulders of the giants who have brought the school to this point, and to underline our commitment to the future of those alumni, and also to the ones that we're going to celebrate today. But as well as celebrating them today, I think it's important that we congratulate all of our alumni for the fantastic work they're doing as they go out into the world and to promote responsible leadership, to promote some of the values that we have at the business school, and to perhaps just be a source of value for a better world. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Smith. On our program, I think now we are moving to the next agenda item. Write that for our audience to see. What are we looking at now? So the next item on the agenda is we are launching in this auspicious event as well, Association Future Fund. And before I hand over to Professor Smith, why don't you just explain what is the Alumni Future Fund and what do we hope to achieve with it? So we kindly invite all alumni, all current students, institutions and corporate partners of the business school to lead in supporting students who will be incoming to the University of Stellenbosch Business School. Your donations, irrespective of the amount, will make an impact in someone's life to access world-class education. Through your generosity, world-class education from the University of Stellenbosch Business School can be accessible to the less privileged. Your donation through the Future Fund will enable many, many deserving incoming students to have the power to transform their communities and the lives around them. By making a donation today, you will be giving someone a chance to access world-class education. Every gift matters. No matter how big or small, it matters. So do partner with the business school. Right now, in your chat box, you can write the word pledge in the comment section. Also, if you look at Janine Nell's profile, you'll see something that you can click on. That thing will take you straight to a screen where you can make a pledge. There are various ways to make pledges as well. By making a pledge as well, you stand a chance of winning an exciting voucher, gift voucher. And you must think of all the students who are deserving of a world-class business education when you consider making a gift, make a huge difference in their lives. And ladies and gentlemen, please know that by the end of this event as well, one lucky winner will walk away with an amazing gift voucher. And there'll also be small prizes for everyone who is here today. And also do remember that all your donations are tax deductible under Section 18A of the Income Tax Act. And so it's a win-win situation for everyone. So remember, your gift matters. And now to formally launch and introduce this fund, I want to hand over back again to Professor Mark Smith.
Thanks so much. And I just wanted to add, I think this is a great honor, but also really I'd like to thank the members of the steering committee of the Alumni Association whose idea this was to develop this fund as a way to give back, as a way to support future students, and I think as a way to recognize that, as I said at the start there, that how tough life has been, and it gets more and more challenging to gain an education, but then at the same time, an education becomes actually so much more important. So there's a kind of a tension and efforts like this, and one way for us to perhaps try to close that gap. And it complements other things we've been doing in the business school as well, where we've been trying to find innovative ways to support students through different financing. But this is one particular way that alumni can give back, and it's the Alumna Association that decides on the destination of those things. And if you think about the consequences during this COVID period of many of those jobs that students might be able to do to support their living standards, or to top up their income, or to support their fees, many of those jobs have been impacted most greatly by the pandemic. So it's really it's very timely, and it's a testament to the ethos of the Alumna Association that wanted to do something positive for future alumni, and to support students who might be struggling, or might not be able to make ends meet, or to meet those fee demands. So it's please give generously. And if I can't, I was trying to snap scan. I think it must be too old. My snap scan thing wouldn't work, but I can't, because Priya can do it as well. And I think he might be a little bit older than me. So it might be my technology that's. But if your snap scan doesn't work, you can also there's plenty of other ways there. You can click to donate. And whatever you give, it's important. There are many thousands of us in the Alumni Association, so of the University Business School, and so if everybody just gives a little bit, then we can really have a big impact. So obviously, if we were together, we'd be able to I don't know, cheer and to applaud, and to launch the Future Fund, and so obviously we're a little bit difficult to do that today. So just to say once again, it's a great pleasure and privilege to be here with you today, but to be here with you to launch this this wonderful initiative that comes from the Alumni Association, but for the students and future members of the Alumni Association, in the Future Fund.
Thank you so much, Prof. Colleagues, alumni, as you can see on your screen, there are various ways to make a contribution. You can go to all those many websites there. You can go directly to the university's website and make a donation, or you can go to another website called Give and Gain. You will also find there the Future Fund, it's explained what is it about, and how you can make a donation as well, a payment through your QR code. You just click on it, it will take you directly to the payment screen. Also, if you wish, you can also send an email to make a donation to USB Alumni at usb.ac.za. Also, during this event, on your chat box, just write the word pledge. Just write the word pledge. Don't have to write the amount, just write pledge. And then the members of the Alumni Association will call you after the event has ended to facilitate your donation. Thank you so much again for helping deserving young students somewhere out there. And now we're moving forward with our program. Our next item on the agenda is the main event of the day. And before we do that, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce the president of the Alumni Association of the University of Stellenbosch Business School. Prof. Priya du Plessis is also a previous winner of this auspicious award. Prof. Priya is the CEO of Plexus Holdings, an investment business he founded in 1995, and its division, iCraft Board Governance Consultants. He serves as non-executive director of Distel Group and the Professional Provident Society, PPS. He's also a member of the investment committee of the Legal Practitioners Indemnity Insurance Fund, and is also the immediate past chair of the Institute of Directors. Prof. Du Plessis is also an advisory board member of the University of Stellenbosch Business School. He also chairs the Audit and Risk Committee. He's a member of the Investment Committee of the university as well. Additionally, he is also a professor extraordinaire at the university, as well as an honorary consul general of Slovenia for South Africa and a deputy dean of the Consular Corps of Cape Town. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Professor Priya du Plessis.
Thank you, Nombeko. Before getting to the winners, I'd like to just briefly mention the criteria for the Alumnus or Alumna of the Year awards. Firstly, graduates of all USB's programs, including its MBA, PhD degrees, other master's programs, and postgraduate diplomas, and also graduates of USB Ed's comprehensive executive development certificate programs can be nominated. Secondly, alumni who have excelled as responsible leaders in the private or public sector or in an entrepreneurial venture who support the values of USB and to act as ambassadors of USB. And lastly, alumni who have achieved visibility during the past 12 to 18 months by, for instance, attracting the attention of the media for achievements in business, management, or exceptional entrepreneurial activities, or leadership in business with strong environmental, social, and ethical governance. So much for the criteria. Onto the more interesting part, onto the winners. And the first award is for the Alumnus of the Year 2019, which goes to Gerry Fourie. And I'll now read the commendatio. USB alumnus Gerry Fourie is the CEO of Capitec Bank. He has played a major role in growing the bank from humble beginnings in 2001 to becoming one of the largest retail banks in South Africa. He holds an MBA from the University of Stellenbosch Business School. The impact of Gerry's responsible leadership in the South African and global business environment is reflected in various accolades. To mention two, under his leadership, Capitec Bank received the JSE Top 100 Company Awards in 2018 and 2019, and also Sunday Times named him the 2019 Business Leader of the Year. Gerry believes that profit, people, and planet can work together in harmony. He has shown that it is possible for a business to balance a results orientation with client centricity and social consciousness. The bank's strong growth and the establishment of the Capitec Bank Foundation are testimony to this. The foundation focuses on advancing social development, especially through its mathematics program for high school learners. It is important for Ferry to expand Capitec Bank's role as a responsible corporate citizen. This resonates well with the USB's vision to create value for a better world. It gives us great pleasure to congratulate him as the University of Stellenbosch Business School's Alumnus of the Year 2019. He's making the world a better place through his values-based leadership, and this makes him a worthy recipient of this award.
Congratulations to Harry. Is he on the platform to accept the award?
Yeah, good afternoon,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Harry. Congratulations. Any words from your side regarding this highest recognition from the University of Stellenbosch Business School?
Yeah, no, it's a great honor for me to actually be acknowledged. It's something that you don't aspire to when you're young, because it goes for us all about what do we do for the client and what do we do for the community. It was actually interesting this morning when I was sitting down and just thinking about 2019, I suddenly realized that I was lucky enough to be at the World Cup rugby with my wife and my dad, which was a highlight in 2019. But I was also in China and I was spending a tremendous amount of time with Alibaba, Tencent, WeChat, and those companies, looking at QR codes, the super app data. And you're starting to hear about Corona in China. There was nothing serious happening, but I never realized that 6 months later, being in China, you would actually experience COVID in its full capacity. So it's actually quite interesting, but it's also quite interesting that everything I've learned from that side, what we've brought into Capitec, what we do today. What was also interesting, in February, I spent time with Tinkoff, a Russian bank, where everyone worked from home. The whole call center worked from home. And when COVID actually hit us, how we could actually use QR codes, data, getting our whole call center to actually work from home, to be agile, to actually go through that whole COVID period, I think quite well. And I think it's one of the things that we've done very successfully. It's also probably one of the challenges that we've got going forward, because if I look at the year that's gone past, I think it's been a challenging year, because it's this whole thing about working from home, working from office. What's the right approach? Should we be vaccinated? Should we not be vaccinated? And it's actually the year where I think leaders must spend a lot of time on the mental fitness of their staff and their clients, etc. And really, I think that's the biggest challenge that we've got going forward, is how do we lead our people through this period? Because I think it's going to be a challenging 2, 3, 4 years till we fully understand the pandemic. I think what definitely has worked, what's happened is that the mobility and to have the freedom to work at home has created a lot. But the one thing we've learned again at Capitec is that if you want to brainstorm, if you want to coach people, if you want to engage with people, if you want to do something unique, then you need to be face to face. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that happens. And I think the university also struggles with that. Do you do education from a digital platform, or do you engage with that? It's interesting if we look at the 20 years of Capitec. Capitec is now 20 years old. What did we learn? Just maybe sharing that with yourselves. I think the one thing stands out is being positive and having energy and believe in yourself. When we started in 2000, nobody gave us a chance that we will take on the 4 traditional banks in South Africa. The space was, or everyone has said it was mission impossible. And it just shows you, if you dream and you've got that passion and you've got that energy, you can actually really achieve anything you want to achieve. And I think we've set that up. I think what actually comes also with that is the ability to focus. I think that's the one mistake all of us do, is that we don't focus enough. We always want to do 10 things. And I always say do 1 or 2 things well. Or the other big point is it's much more difficult to say no than to say yes. Because if you say yes, you want to please everyone, but really it makes it and you focus. and then to be innovative, to make certain that you are fully innovative. Challenge yourself to do things completely different on a continuous basis. I think the big innovations is what Steve Jobs has done with Apple. Yes, it's happened, but what now is those incremental innovations that you need to take every single process, and if you tweak it with 1 or 2 or 3%, and you add a lot of these, I think you can create quite a lot. I think in my leadership journey, the one thing I've learned is the power of culture. They always say culture eats up strategy, and I think I'm believing in that, because that culture is when you're creating, especially when you start getting big, where people don't think they do it automatically. And that's what we're starting to get right in Capitec, because if you really want to build an organization that becomes 150, 200, 300 years old, you want people to think and operate in exactly the same manner. And I think that's where our obsession with our client, to understand our client end to end, is very important. The end to end for me is the important thing. It's just more not only a product, but it's the total experience, and challenging you and saying, how do you actually make that experience different? You don't achieve anything in life if you don't take your people with you. So your staff, your human resources, they are your biggest assets. But how do you make certain that they work as a team, that they've got a common objective, that they've got a common goal? And I think the most important thing is strategy, because it's quite easy to strategize, but strategy is only successful when it's properly implemented, and you can only implement it if every single person are crystal clear on exactly what you need to do. And I think that's where, especially in South Africa, our government falls flat, because they've got all these broad strategies, but nobody knows exactly what needs to be done at the lowest level, and it gets implemented at the lowest level. And then lastly, that's that whole thing about delivery, because it's quite easy to talk, but to actually deliver on what you say you're going to do, measure it, understanding it. In Capitec, we've got a saying: if you move, we measure. And for the people that don't know, from the moment you go into one of our branches, you take a ticket. We know exactly how much time you spend before you are helped, and then every second you're spending in front of a screen tells us exactly what's happening, and we can tell if our consultants are maybe taking too long, our clients not understanding our product, is it not simplistic enough? So delivery goes with a very strong focus on measurement. We've got a program in Capitec that we talk about firm foundations. That is where every single person that is employed in the bank gets flown down to Capitec, and they spend 10 days a year at the campus, where we talk about it, and we talk about our culture, our values, where we're going in the bank. And I think that creates something completely unique. And when I thought about what the university has done for myself, I actually came back to firm foundations, because it actually gave me that opportunity to make certain that my foundations are strong. And if I think about what the university has done and needs to be doing is, I think the first thing it goes about people. When you go to university, it's all about people, connecting, friends, leadership, is to compete. But, I was at a wedding this weekend, and 10, 12 people was with me at university, and we very big friends, and we're all successful. So it's that ability to connect with people. And I think that ability to understand when you negotiate, when you work on something, that insight into the people side. I think the second one that stands out for me is the word discipline. And it's interesting, when you're at varsity, you don't think about it, but it's that discipline and being under pressure, because you have to write tests. I think we all hate tests, but you have to do it. You need to say no. I'm not going to party tonight, but I'm going to focus, and I'm going to make certain. So I think that word discipline and that balance is an important thing. And then the last one is insights and knowledge, the ability to think wider, to think broader, and to find solutions. I was privileged that I was 27 when I was moved to Natal to run KwaZulu-Natal as head of Natal. My management team was 50 plus. They had all experience. I had no experience, but my MBA gave me that knowledge to actually work with the people and lead the people. I think that is what an MBA does extremely well. So from my side, it's a great privilege to be the alumni of the year 2019. I really appreciate it, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gerrie, for that inspiring leadership journey that has enabled you to garner this award. Quite clearly, your leadership journey is also embodied in how Capitec Bank has done very well in the market. I think it has disrupted the banking sector in ways unimagined. It is a bank of the future. It is the new benchmark. And that, I am sure, comes from your contribution as well. And thank you so much for that contribution. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to hand back to Professor du Plessis, who is now going to acknowledge the next winner of this award.
Thanks, Nombeko. Before getting on to the next award, I've been watching the Capitec share price jump by a couple of rand during Gerrie's speech. So this will probably make it painless for Capitec shareholders to click that QR code or on any of the links to pledge.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So next, we have the USB Alumna of the Year in Business Leadership 2020. The award goes to Nompumelelo Moko, and the commendation is as follows. USB Alumna Nompumelelo Moko is Dimension Data's Managing Director for Southern Africa. She started her professional career as a chartered accountant at auditing firm Nkubani & Company. With a keen interest in business strategy, she embarked on her MBA. During the first week of the program, she was chosen as class representative, already a sign of strong leadership skills. Her interaction with other MBA students made her realize that she wanted more from her career. She wanted to work for a global company. While still studying, she joined Dimension Data as a senior finance manager tasked to turn around a business unit. As she moved to new positions within the organization, her role responsibilities increased. In March 2021, she was appointed as Dimension Data's Managing Director, Southern Africa. She is increasingly being asked to comment in the media on topics such as intelligent customer experience, to serve as panelist at conferences, and to contribute to leading industry reports. All of these confirm the value of her input in business leadership. Nompumelelo quoted Nelson Mandela as saying, "Education is a powerful weapon that can change the world." She is indeed proof of this. It gives us great pleasure to congratulate Nompumelelo as the University of Stellenbosch Business School's Alumna of the Year in Business Leadership 2020. Her personal strategy of lifelong learning is serving her well, and she's indeed making the world a better place through her leadership. This makes her a worthy recipient of this award.
Nimpi!
Congratulations to Nompumelelo. Is she going to show us the award?
Indeed, I am. Thank you so much for this recognition. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to the USB and to the alumni team just for this recognition. And if I look at what Gerrie was talking about, as well as Salma, very outstanding leaders. So to be amongst these great leaders, it's really, really outstanding. And thank you so much for the amazing recognition. Also to the past winners of the Alumni of the Year. I mean, congratulations to you as well for what you've achieved in your journey. I do believe that our country needs such leadership. It needs such people to take us forward and to turn things around. So really, just being recognized, it's really an amazing achievement. I also want to thank Dr. Jaco Volschenk. I mean, Jaco, you remember when you nominated me, such an amazing time. I really thought you're taking a big chance here, but thank you just for reaching out and saying, Melo, I really think you should be involved. And I also see that Prof. Ungara is on the call. I mean, Prof, I met Diako through you and through your classes. So thank you very much for that. A special thank you to my husband. I mean, if I remember during the MBA, he was such a great inspiration to me. During the exams, he'd make the coffees, he'd make the juices, he'd run around just to make sure that I was okay. So thanks, Saki, for that. To my friends who are on the call, Temba, thank you very much. Duduetang, thank you. Mardi, I remember you and I used to spend some time with Prof. Martin Butler, just on those class rep meetings. So, hey, thanks for being on the call as well. Special thank you to Prof. Nadir. I mean, my first day in the class, I remember he asked a question about purity. I don't remember what it was about, but the first thing he said to me was that, Melo, you're such a genius. You can imagine the first day of class and you call it genius, it makes you think you're special. But it just helped propel me in the right direction. And special thank you also to Prof. Martin Butler. Firstly, Martin, congratulations, Professor. Secondly, Prof. Martin played a big role in my life during the MBA. I remember during the thesis, I was stuck. And I called Martin, said to Martin, I'm really stuck. I need somebody to help me think. And out of his busy schedule, he actually went through, read with me, helped me just figure out where I was blocked. So, I mean, for me, if I look at the journey that I've had with USB, it was really, really life-changing. When I actually started the journey for the MBA, I wanted to be at Harvard at the time. But I think USB came at the right time in my life because I needed something to help me change, to help me think differently. If I want to summarize a little bit around my leadership journey and what I take away. I think the big thing for me about leadership is purpose. I always align my life to purpose, what I do to purpose, running Dimension Data in South Africa to purpose as well. Every day when we decide as leaders on what to do, how to turn, it affects our people, the people that we lead, it affects our country. So I always say that leadership is not only about self and recognition of self, but it's about who do you impact? How do I impact our country each and every day in terms of what do I say and how do I carry myself? It's important to me as a person. Another part that I do believe leadership is about our employees. I mean, you said it so well here around the mental wellness of our employees. In the last two years have been quite difficult for a lot of people. How do we as leaders acknowledge the fact that it's been difficult, but also act as a beacon of hope for them so that they keep on going? Also, we also need to acknowledge the fact that we're also human. We go through pain, we go through challenges, but still we rise. And how do we do it every day? It's about the hope that we have. A third point is about, I believe in being meaningful in terms of small business in our country. As we all know, in the last 20 months, a lot of them have closed, mainly because they can't operate in the environment that we're in. How do we as corporate SA ensure we meaningfully invest in those small businesses so that they can turn around and become great and help the unemployment rates in our country? So I think it's a great thing that we need to think about as leaders as well. And the last part about my journey and what keeps me going each and every day, whenever I hear different stories around how people have persevered through pain, through heartache, through apartheid, through different challenges that we go through in life, that motivates me. It tells me that it is possible. No matter my background, no matter where I'm from, no matter what my big dreams are, each and every step that I take is possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mpumelelo. Thank you so much for sharing your leadership journey with us. I think you are a trailblazer and inspiration. And I think all alumni who are watching you today are inspired. And you are certainly mapping a journey for yourself in the landscape of our country. Thank you so much. I want now to hand over to Prof. du Plessis to give the award to the last winner for 2020.
Yes, thank you, Nombeko. The last award is for USB Alumna of the Year in Societal Leadership 2020, and this goes to Salma Sidat. The commendation is as follows. USB Alumna Salma Sidat is currently Director of Clinical Commissioning Groups and Special Initiatives at Broadreach, a company that uses technology to strengthen health systems across the globe. While doing her MBA, Salma wanted to find out how awareness of responsible leadership can be translated into societal benefits. This became the topic of her research assignment. This and her engagement with global organizations through the MBA stream in managing international organizations convinced her that it is possible to create business models with societal benefits. After her studies, she was particularly interested in creating income-generating opportunities for women in Africa. She was invited to join the steering committee of the South African chapter of the Aspen Network of Development Entrepreneurs. Here, her role was to help with strategic direction. She also makes a social impact in other ways. Firstly, she's a board member of the Pan-African Network, Impact at Africa, which helps to develop the impact investing ecosystem in Africa. She contributes to strategy setting and grooming the next generation of African impact investment managers. Secondly, she's an advisory board member of the UK-based social enterprise Primary Care International, which focuses on filling critical gaps in primary healthcare systems in low and middle income countries. Salma lectures in strategic leadership on the USB's MBA, MIO, and postgraduate diploma in leadership development. She's a regular guest speaker on the topic of responsible leadership and strategy development for NGOs and small businesses. She also mentors young women in leadership development. Salma is making the world a better place through her values-based and ethical leadership in the social sector. This makes her a worthy recipient of the USB's Alumna of the Year Award in Societal Leadership 2020. It gives us great pleasure to congratulate Salma on this award.
Congratulations, Salma. Show us your award and tell us, how did you get there? Because you've done incredible well.
Thank you. This is the lovely, amazing gift that I got. I'm not sure if you can see it with the background, but there.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. And, you know, thank you, everyone. I think getting this award, an award like this, kind of really puts your work into perspective. To be recognized for what you do by peers and by mentors is an amazing feeling, and one that really kind of fills you with gratitude and humility. My journey as a student actually began at USB in 2015. I applied to study a PGDip in development finance. At the time, I was running a management consultancy that focused on socioeconomic development, but I'd never actually been to university, and I didn't have an undergraduate degree. So it was a long shot, but I was really intrigued by the course outline, and I decided to take a chance, and I was really pleasantly surprised when I was accepted. And so through the PGDip, I was actually able to register for the MBA, and I'm now an alumna of the USB. This is one of the things that I truly appreciate about the USB, the ability to take each application that you get on merit or potential rather than metrics, and provide opportunity for those who may not have had these opportunities before. So I really want to thank the USB for being very progressive in those type of policies, especially in a country like South Africa. I think finding meaning in the work you do, speaking a little bit to what Nompumelelo and Kheri was saying, is that, you know, it really provides you with a lot of motivation, especially if you're part of a collective effort that kind of spans the globe. Is, you know, in international development. So after a rather kind of haphazard arrival into international development, I initially started off in law, I moved to tourism, and then I moved to international development. But once I became part of finding solutions to some of the most pressing problems in the world, there really is no turning back from that. I truly believe that being able to do work that makes a difference is a gift, and it's definitely one that I treasure. And I recognize that this work is not done in isolation. And so this award is actually equally shared with all the people in the different companies that I engage with or interact with, or that I'm a part of, that are focused on making the world a better place for everyone. There is one key message I wanted to share with you all today. And I think it's one that's very relevant for the world that we're in right now. I grew up in a home that included a large extended family. So from a very young age, I learned to operate as part of a community where we took care of each other. Nurturing is often perceived to be a very feminine trait, and one that's not necessarily associated with the business world, but figuring out how to take care of people to ensure that they are thriving has taught me that when you deeply care about people and they feel nurtured, they can achieve great things. From a business perspective, this makes you and your organization really successful. Now, imagine if you foster that at a community scale and then at a national scale. Thinking about that really helps you to recognize the role that you play as part of a larger society. So deeply caring for and wanting the best for everyone gives you that motivation and strength to serve for humanity. With the world in its current state, I think that is so applicable now more than ever. And so in closing, I think what I really just want to say is I'm extremely grateful for the various people who have contributed to my journey in different ways that have brought me to this point. So firstly, definitely my family, my husband. I have 2 teenage boys, which is a different challenge of its own. My parents, my brothers, my broader family. There's unconditional love and support that helps you to really build that foundation very young to achieve greater things despite your circumstances. And I think that's so important. And finally, thank you to the USB faculty, mentors, staff, and friends for your acknowledgement and support. I'd like to give a special shout out to Professor Arnold Smith and Dr. Armand Bum for the huge influence they had on my MBA journey. And I really treasure their wisdom and guidance in helping me through what I did. Obviously, when you are, as many of you understand, who have gone through an MBA journey, it is the most fulfilling and also one of the most challenging journeys. I do want to give a shout out to what is known as the Sanity Circle, which is a group of MBA alumni who basically we were responsible for making sure that we retained our sanity during MBA. So, those are the important things that get you through the day. So I'm truly grateful to have you all in my life, to have your support, and I would like to thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Salma. Thank you so much. I think your leadership journey clearly shows that you have made a huge difference in the lives of many people. Thank you so much. Just show your award again for our association to take a picture for media and the website. I forgot to ask the other winners to do the same again. Thank you so much, Salma. We can see it. That picture is going to be there. I wanted to ask Nompumelelo again, as well as Kheri, to just show their awards again so that we can take a picture. Great. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the University of Stellenbosch Business School makes a huge difference in the lives of many, many people. The leadership journeys that you are hearing now clearly shows that a USB education makes a difference. And so give a chance to an incoming student, make a pledge. In the box, write pledge, or use your snap scan and make a pledge. Now in our program as well, we have previous winners. And I want to hand over for a few minutes to Prof. du Plessis to just tell us who are these past winners. And after that, we are going to have a discussion on how to actually get here as well for me and you out there who are watching today. Prof. du Plessis.
I don't see my name next to this item, but I can certainly just mention the previous winners. Firstly, MK Molala, Alumnus of the Year 2003, and then 4 years more recently, Dr. Marlene Leroux, who was the Alumna of the Year in 2007. And I think this must have been, Sean, the last award we handed over in person. Sean Foster was the Alumnus of the Year in 2018.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, so you can see that we have outstanding leadership, people who have done excellent achievements in their careers. And what we want to do now is to have a conversation to understand how do we tap into this leadership excellence as alumni, and also ask a few questions as well as what impact had this recognition from the USB had on the previous winners' career trajectory. For instance, Dr. Marlene, you have done incredible well. You are the CEO now, where you are, and you have a lot of experience, and you were recognized for this award. What did this award mean to you? As well as to Mr. Mushala, what did this award do for your career after you were recognized? Maybe let's start with Marlene and hear what has this award done for you, and what gems of wisdom can you pass on to others who aspire to achieve, to be recognized by their peers as well?
I must say I'm so humbled by the 3 recipients today. It just gives us hope amidst COVID, because there's ethical leaders. And I just want to give a big shout out and a hug to all the 3 worthy. It's not winners, it's actually persons who contributed to our society and our African continent to show the world that Africa is there with ethical leadership. So I'm humbled by all 3 recipients. The award, when I got the award, was actually a shock, because at that time, first of all, I want to say it meant a lot to me that time, because for me, servant leadership is number 1. And in the performing arts, you're as good as your previous performance. And I've realized from a very young age that if you don't recognize the people that's been with you when you haven't had a title, you're actually going to fall flat on your face, because you didn't just fall out of the sky. So being part of the business school that time, I was a mother that just heard that my son had cerebral palsy. And I've decided to go and study, being a mum, having 2 nurses with me, but I've also realized that I must own up, and coming from a performing arts perspective, I need to be able to give advice to staff. I need to know business world as well. And I needed to compartmentalize my life in a sense by being the best mother that I can be to a challenging situation at home and love this child unconditionally, but also to realize that I also need to give leadership at the same time with the help of others. And one of the helping factors was I could bounce off my anxiety with the leaders at that time at Stellenbosch University Business School. So that was number one. As the other recipients have echoed, that the support that's been given by the lecturers was extremely of a support basis to me as a person. Second thing I would like to highlight is that I had come in with baggage into the business school. And number one, it's that the diversity. The business school have given me the opportunity to meet with other business leaders, number one. Secondly, also to realize I'm not alone. I can just be myself as well. My fears. I could say I didn't understand that Excel sheet, man, people, man. But also, thirdly, I was very honest. And I think my honesty helped everybody in the class. I would put up my hand, and I would tell to the others, hello, in the group, listen, I don't have time to play around, man. I'm a part-time student here. I'm paying for myself. If I get home, I have a child which I need to sit on my arm and study. So please get with the program, man. I need to hand in this piece of work. So stop playing games, man. And then the third thing, I was very clear in the class. Thank for the Almighty, I brought in my diversity in 2007. I said, I can't be taught only by men. Where's the women on this group? Because I must get up and say, hello, this business case studies, then all just men leading. I am a rural woman. I have a disability myself. I speak an indigenous language. I didn't understand sometimes the language issues. Okay, so I come with all these baggage. So I spoke up that time. So I needed to realize when you speak up, you need to get 98% all the time so that no one pulls you down. So the fourth thing I want to put up there for the alumni, when you sign up to do whatever studies, you need to work hard. No one knew actually in the beginning I had a cerebral palsy child. I had all of these things. I needed to buckle up, but I also needed to be truthful to the business school. My last thing that I would like to say to the when I've received that particular, I just decided I'm going to always make way for other women. I can't be the only person on the top. I can't just be the only person in the pack. It's a very important thing. So the empowerment of young girls was for me important, that we share our knowledge. It is impossible to live without failure. I want to leave you, and I will come back if you have questions. You need to fail. My God, did I fail? I failed. But I needed to shed my ego. And I needed to go to the team, back to the team where I worked with, to ask them, oh my good grief, can you please help me? So for asking for help and understanding perhaps some aspects of the business, you need to be able to recognize your failures, also your shortcomings, in order for you to fly as the team. Recognize the tea lady, recognize the cleaning staff members, because they know your business more than you do. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you so much, Marlene. I think you couldn't have said it better. You take me back to my MBA class where I was, in your MBA class, you have those groups and then you have to do that group project. And, there's that one student in that group who will hold everyone back. I wish at the time I was as strong as you and told them to just get on with it. And now, Mr. Mohlala, you were a winner in 2003. You distinguished yourself. You did incredible well. You were nominated for this award. What has it done for you? And what was it about your work that actually enabled you to be recognized for this award?
No, thank you, Doc. Actually, I don't know. When I went to the university to receive the award, I wondered, why me? Maybe it's because of the person I am. I'm very extroverted. I talk a lot. But I think something to mention, and I thought about it. And let me firstly also take the opportunity to recognize the winners. I mean, it's quite exciting. My view is that development of leadership, particularly in Africa, is very important, and we shouldn't stop dreaming. And I'm encouraged by that, by what you guys have done. When I was awarded the same year, I was the CEO of City Power at that time. And during the time when I was the CEO of City Power, I became the businessman of the year. And when I went to the award function, I actually wondered, but why did he choose me? I wondered what they were looking at. And I was actually quite inspired. But sometimes you are not aware of the qualities that we carry. Some people out there will judge you and say, maybe you are worthy to be given an award. So I learned, then I decided that, I've been, when I started here, I was working for ESCOM. Then during my journey studying, I became a CEO of City Power for 5 years. Government is very challenging. It's not the government that I used to work for before. Things have just changed, they're done differently. During my time, there was no political interference. You couldn't necessarily be able to empower those who work for you and look after customers. Now it's not easy. What the university probably taught me, the ability to be able to absorb pressure. Then I decided that I wanted to work for myself. And in 2006, when my contract ended, I didn't want to be somebody's CEO. I'm not discouraging you, those who are CEOs. It's good, you are there for the purpose. I heard Nombulele say he's governed by purpose. I mean, some people must be employees and some must be the creators of employment. Then I went on my own to say, but if I've done it so well as an employee, why don't I start something for myself when I move into infrastructure, electrical, and also to hire people. I was saying to my employees now to say, look, in this company, all of you must be vaccinated. And they said, no, some people talk about methods of medicine, even though they're not doctors. I said, no, but you can't talk about it because it's for your own safety. What I learned in life is that you need to be able to differentiate and identify things that make you to be happy and things that are actually socially acceptable. Hard work, the value of honesty. I had Salma talking about honesty and integrity. And unfortunately, most young people have lost that. They think that to own a car and to be richer quick is what you're supposed to be. I always believe it's about being a leader, being an example for growth so that people can see you as an example. In my own environment, I mean, now I look young, but I'm actually quite old. I'm 58. I can see most people who are here are very young. I'm 58 years of age, but you can't think I'm 58. You know why? The way I handle myself, I play golf. And also one of the most thing is my spiritual belief. I always believe you must believe in something to succeed. I mean, I believe in God. And because I believe in something, even when I go through pressures of this world, I'm able to say it's part of life. But I need to be positive. I think for me, what is very important, one must be able to manage negativity. There's so much negativity, a negative environment that we are living in, but it must never put you down. I mean, if you go look at my history, I started to work as a security guard. It's amazing. I mean, and I studied through correspondence through UNISA. Even though my parents had nothing, like Selma was saying, But I never allow that environment to press me down. I always tell my kids, if you want to be successful, you must have that desire to make a difference. And I remember our first MBA students, we were the first English class, and the professor will go there, teach Afrikaans. I said, no, but Prof, are you not lost? This is English class. But it was quite exciting for me, the platform that the university create, where you meet different kind of people, different cultural background. It prepares you. On your own, you can actually say, but I can do this, because I've seen it being done somewhere else. So really, just thinking about it, I really thank the platform that the university created for us to really engage. I used to tell the university, I said, but why are you busy with this multiple choice question? Why? I've got a degree. Why are you testing me to say A, B, C, D? Because I want questions that test the way I think. So that what I think, because we want to go back as leaders and be able to go and empower people who might not have an opportunity to come to the classroom. So it has been very wonderful. I was sometimes when I get invited to talk to students who are studying, I always tell them, like, why do you study? Is it just for knowledge or certificate? It's not just to have the certificate. It's to be able to be empowered, to be able to navigate the environment. This environment, if you're not strong enough, you might not be able to make it. I'm happy to have been part of the university, the people I met. And I also touch other people when I meet people. And I remember, if I believe in something, I've got such a strong belief. If I believe in something, I say it loudly. I say, but if it works for me, it might not be the perfect thing, but I say, but if it has worked for me, what I have gone through is universal knowledge. That is why I always get excited that we meet and discuss ideas about leadership, about values. Because remember, values of honesty, hard work will never change. We must always teach people what is good. And I'm happy that the university has gone beyond South African borders. And I've done work in Nigeria and so on. It's challenging out there. We are lucky. I mean, sometimes when I don't know whether you guys play golf. If you don't, I want to encourage you to play golf, because just to walk in a golf course and just clear your mind is something so beautiful where there are no disturbances. I mean, if we can be able just to have this belief that we're going to make it as a country.
Yes.
Because if you believe that it's going to work, it means there's something that you are contributing as a person. And I think the young people who are going to be coming will learn from us. So I really thank you so much for inviting me. Remember, it's 18 years ago, 2003.
Yes.
So I'm still there. So it means good knowledge doesn't die. I mean, good things will always be there. And we must be so positive about the future. I'm a strong believer that things happen for a reason, but people who guide the performance must be strong believers. They must work hard. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for the opportunity. I'm very much inspired. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mushlala. I think your optimism is so infectious. If you look at the chats, everyone there is saying what a role model you are, really inspiring. After all these years, you are still inspiring. Congratulations again. And now I'm not sure if Dr. Sean Forster is on the platform. He won the award in 2018. He did very well through his, one of the aspects around his win was the fact that he believed in value-based leadership. And that was one of the qualities that was recognized in his profile. Is Dr. Sean Forster available?
Yes, I hope you can see and hear me.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. We can't wait to hear how has this award impacted your incredible career. Obviously, you are now in Saudi Arabia from way down in South Africa. Tell us how did this award impact your journey? What gems of wisdom can you share with us as alumni?
Thank you very much for that introduction, and also let me add my congratulations to the winners, but also most importantly their contributions. and all the inspiring stories we've been hearing. Those on the call, I see Mario Ungerer here, I then see Jaco, but many others, Martin Butler, had an impact on my MBA career, would know that for me, way back then, it was part of a mid-career reskilling, building up some functional competencies I didn't have before, but then made the major discovery that it's actually a leadership journey. And more than any of those technical skills, it was about a leadership journey and discovering yourself in that process. So it enabled me to make that transition. I was in travel and tourism for 11 years in government in South Africa, to make that transition from the public sector to the private sector, and also from South Africa to the Middle East. But more than that, career change also enabled me to probably take a deep look at myself and move away from what probably became a comfort zone and situational arrogance with where I was before, to finding new ways to contribute and to promote the things that I believe in and the passions and the purpose that you should easily speak about. Unlearning some things, recognizing my own incompleteness as a leader. So for me, that was the life-changing part of the MBA. And as I came to the Middle East, it's now been 7 years, it's come back to me every day to support me. And yes, I was honored and humbled to receive this reward at the end of 2019. I had certain positions back then in a big project in the Middle East, but also contributed to sustainability and social inclusion. And as most of us affected by the global pandemic, was then made redundant 6 months later. And from there, it was one big roller coaster. Redundant on my 50th birthday, then 4 months locked into the UAE, not being able to leave because of COVID. Then moved back to South Africa, locked in there for 4 months, not being able to go back to the Middle East to pursue a career, like many people. And then made it back to the UAE eventually, only to be hospitalized a month later with COVID pneumonia. But I decided, look, this is an opportunity to take a bit of a sabbatical and invest in something that has purpose. So I decided to volunteer for 6 months under these circumstances. And as Harry pointed out earlier, opportunities to volunteer remotely. And I worked on a few things that was just a passion. I wanted to do something that made a difference. I'm a big sustainability advocate. So I launched the 4th Leadership Series with the World Tourism Forum in Lucerne on biodiversity and tourism and how to protect our environment. I volunteered for 6 months with Sheikh Shama bin Sultan bin Khalifa Al Nahyan in Abu Dhabi on gender board diversity, something I've never done before, but working with big corporates in the UAE to promote diversity on their boards, diversity and inclusion on boards. So I decided to move out of my comfort zone, invest in things that really has meaning to me, and only work with people that I like, people that I could associate myself with. And for me, that was my saving grace under these tough circumstances of going through all of this. And after the 6 months, great opportunity, serendipity, if you do the right things for the right reasons, they all, somehow this too shall pass. And very privileged now to have a small portfolio existence. I'm now Secretary General of the South African Business Council of the UAE. I lectured a little bit at Stellenbosch at the business school on the strategy course, and very recently took up a position with the Saudi Tourism Authority, where it's a country that's very serious about diversifying away from hydrocarbons, and very ambitious targets for travel and tourism, to increase the share of GDP, travel and tourism, from 3% to 10% by 2030, and in the process create 1 million jobs, to increase the total number of jobs in the tourism sector from 600,000 to 1.6 million. So I'm very privileged to be in this part of the world, making a contribution, and helping to build a tourism economy.
Wow. Dr. Sean Foster, I think your incredible journey shows that the only thing that is constant is change. And one must be adaptable. One must be able to pivot, just as we are now on this platform, because this event could have been held in person, but we have to pivot. But I think your journey shows us that you need to take risks. You need to plan ahead. Sometimes you can't plan, things happen, but you need to make those are well-calculated risks. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. I think now I also wanted to just give the president of the Alumni Association a few minutes as well to share his nuggets of wisdom, because he was a winner as well. Professor du Plessis, you were a winner as well during your year. What did you do differently? What can we learn from your leadership journey?
Yes, it's been a number of years ago, but I think a number of aspects have been mentioned by some of the other winners. To me, the whole question of doing projects and running businesses in partnership with other people is key to success. They always say that you should appoint somebody brighter than yourself, because that's the way to build a business and to aspire to greater heights. And I've certainly experienced that throughout my career, that by associating yourself with top people, it just makes life so much easier. And then the whole issue of purpose, it's a more recent buzzword, if I may use that term, but purpose has all along played a big role in my career. Throughout, and purpose is closely linked in my book to focus, which was mentioned by Gerry. You can very easily go off many different tangents and losing sight of the real purpose of what you're trying to accomplish. So focus comes into it quite strongly. I think those are sort of two key aspects that have been guiding me throughout my career. And even in later years, now that I'm no longer really serving in an executive capacity, but only as a non-exec on a number of boards and doing a bit of consulting work in corporate governance as well. Still, those are the guiding lights that steer me through all this. It's just, in this phase of my career, I'm tempted to say I'm learning more than ever before, because you tend to be the older guy nowadays where you're involved. And I'm just so impressed with so many of the young people, and many of them with their education having been received from USB. I recently embarked on a project where a 32-year-old guy asked me to provide him with some mentoring, and I reluctantly agreed. And he comes to my house sort of once a month, and we chat about all sorts of things. And whenever he leaves, I say to my wife, I've just learned so much again from this guy. It's supposed to be the other way around. He comes here for advice, but he's really keeping me up to speed with developments that I've in many instances not even heard of previously. So yeah, getting back to one of my themes, and that is to surround yourself with high quality people and keep learning all the time. You're never too old. It's so important to be on a permanent learning journey. I think that's what I'll conclude with. Probably
Yes.
many other things and examples that one can dish up, but just some top of mind thoughts.
Thank you so much, Professor du Plessis. I think those are very interesting insights, and I think our audience and alumni are learning a lot. I think I like what you're saying, that keep learning. Keep learning. It's a lifelong journey. And as we know, we want to make sure that we extend that journey to all young people and other leaders who want to come to Stellenbosch University and to study. And so we ask you as alumni to pledge, to make a pledge, to help those who cannot afford but who want to have access to an excellent education. do pledge, write the word pledge at the bottom of your the chat screen, as well as use your Snap scan on your phone and use the QR code to also make a pledge. There are other various ways of pledging as well. You can send an email as well to the email address which was shared with you, or go to the pledging websites, which also were shared with you. And now I wanted to just ask the audience if they have one or two questions that they want to ask any of the 3 winners today, as well as the previous winners. Questions to them? Any question from the audience? 2 or 3 questions, please, so that you can also benefit from their wisdom. Maybe you have a particular question that you would like to ask. Please go ahead. Lizelle, will you facilitate that in case I miss any of those questions from the audience? Want to ask the audience if they have questions for any of the winners?
The audience is asked, or the broader audience?
Yeah, the broader audience, the ones who are tuning in, who are listening. But you also feel free as well, Mr. Motlala, if you want to ask any question to the other winners as well.
Well, my question is, I mean, I've seen most ladies. I've seen Marlene was saying that she wanted to make sure that women are not left behind. I wanted to find out what else is she doing out there to make sure that that particular purpose of hers is being realized. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. That's a question, Marlene. What else are you doing to ensure that women?
Oh, I'm so happy to answer that. Is that I think the day is too short for me. I'm also involved in the Chrysalis Academy, where we give young women in particular a second chance. And we have partner, you can look it up, where we have partner with the government, Western Cape government. So when you after your 3 months where you get training on skills development, but also diversity, life skills as per se, and how to apply for a job. How can you enroll and get access to that NAFSA's bursary? It's also very important. Sometimes we have all the opportunities that is there, but it's not spread amongst where that accessibility is. So I'm very much involved in the Chrysalis Academy. And also I'm also involved especially with women with disabilities on WAND in particular, where we look at, we must always remember that accessibility is not even yet on the agenda. When COVID was announced, I immediately phoned our beautiful president. I give all, Mr. Mashlala, I give all males, female names, because so that we can be in touch. So I call the president Cyriline. So I called the office to say to the president, Cyriline, you forgot that persons with disability, when you locked up, you forgot to realize they need carers, number one. Secondly, they need access, that people need to come to their houses. When you're a wheelchair-bound person, you need gloves. So when you hand out anything in that packet, there needs to be gloves, because that you can put on your hands. So all of these things. So I would like to say that please be involved. Don't let your titles get in the way for making a difference. So, Ms. Mashlala, for women, girls, I'm involved there, but they also guide me. I'm a 54-year-old woman. So life has changed, obviously. Women look at life differently. And lastly, I also want to say is that, Christelle, if you allow me, because it's so important, that when you write an exams and when you apply for something, do it right from the start. Don't say, I didn't get it because I'm from the rural areas. I am a woman of color. or I am disabled. Prepare yourself. That is why I'm saying to the resources that is there, to the alumni here, please put in money, the reason for it, so that we can prepare equity and equality. You can talk about equality, but if you don't give the resources for that young girl or women to access this particular wonderful opportunities, then we're all going to talk about equality on paper. I thank you for the question.
Thank you so much, Malene. I see we might have some questions, but before that,
Nombeku, Prof. Ungere had his hand up, and there was also a question to him from Marlene.
Oh, okay. All right. Malene, you had a question to Professor Unger. Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah,
yes.
My hand is not. Hello, can you hear me? My hand is not up because of Malene. I will talk about the book later at another occasion. I have a different question for the people who've been in these roles. And that is about our commons. So we work as individuals, we look after our families, we are part of a community, but that commons called South Africa, that higher ideal of a rainbow nation, that higher ideal of a nation united, what is your opinion on where we are on that journey, and what should we do more to, as business people then, at least, to look after this commons called South Africa Pty Limited?
Thank you so much, Professor Unger. Any of the current winners, Gerifori, Nampumelelo, or Salma?
I'll take a first bite at it. Firstly, Prof. Unger, it's a very hard question, but I also believe that, you know, part of the last 20 months took the focus away from just the profits and brought it back to us as a country. And why I say this, I mean, if you remember last year, there was a big call from the president about Solidarity Fund. And all of us could see that the line, the divide between the haves and the have-nots, you know, that line kept becoming wider and wider, or the divide itself. For example, when you see children from rural areas, when townships not being able to be in school because they don't have fiber or connectivity, there was a big challenge. If I look at what we also had to do as a company around, how do we ensure that, given we're in the IT space, we enable that particular part. Another part that became quite clear is that, you know, sometimes whenever you go out and you recruit, look at the unemployment part, we always look at people that have degrees or have some sort of, you know, we had to consciously say, hang on, before we can even go far, there are kids that we found in the last 12 months who don't have the degrees, but are brilliant at IT. One of them started doing gaming at the age of 3. I mean, if I can tell you her interview, she cried the whole time. She didn't say a single word except cry. We said, you know what, we will make this work for you. You don't have to say anything. We are hiring you, just because of what she brought to the party. So going back to your question about what is corporate SA doing for the commons or for South Africa Limited? I believe that each of our efforts as corporate SA is contributing to South Africa. If I look at the last 20 months, I mean, we've had huge investments in the country by virtue of data centers and infrastructure, because we're saying we cannot afford as South Africa to be behind when the world is running from a digital perspective. We can't afford it. We need to catch up very, very quickly. Secondly, we underestimated South Africa that we've got, our people are very, very skilled. I mean, I'm seeing it in our business where I'm struggling to hold on to skill, because the world over want our people. And sometimes we underestimate how great our people are, whether it's their resilience, whether it's ability to adapt to change, whether it's just their skill and their basic learning. I find that other countries actually want our people just for those particular things, that we're able to deal with legacy stuff, change, so on and so forth. And for me, what I see the future being for us, that we need to become the hub for skills for the world, because we've got the people. How do we invest a lot more as corporate SA in these skills? Make sure that we are actually having a lot more of those people coming out from our environment and being the hub for the world, the CEO for the world, for our people. For me, I think it would be a great way for us to show ourselves. I mean, we always said it. I remember even in our classes, we used to always say, how do we differentiate ourselves as South Africa and as Africa? We've got the youngest population across the globe. We saw it with COVID. How do we use this to our best advantage? For me, I believe is investing in our people, investing in our skills, make sure that we are the hub for the world, because we've got the people, we've got the skills, and we will be able to end a small part of unemployment and poverty just by doing that. Yeah, first bite at it.
Thank you so much, for that. I think those are very insightful, perspectives. Salma, any thoughts on your part?
Oh, and thanks, Prof. That's a very interesting question. I think, when we looked at certainly the progress that South Africa has made over the last many years, objectively, we have made really good progress. I always go back to the fact that South Africa has one of the strongest constitutions in the world. We always fail on implementation. And I go back to what you were saying to us in the strategy, right? About how we have this wonderful strategy and people always fail at implementation. We've been good in some areas and we've not been good in others. But I think the one thing, and certainly from working in international development, what I've really found is that there's always hope. South Africa is not a hopeless place. There are amazing people doing amazing things. And when you connect with those people, they inspire you to be part of that. And that's the one thing that I would encourage everyone to do, actually, because it's very easy to get caught up in Twitter and social media and what's being said there, and to get lost in the noise and to really believe that we are the dregs of society, which we actually are not. And so you look at that and you say, South Africa has amazing people, I think, as Nompumelelo said, but they're also doing amazing things. And I think even if you just look in a close community like the USB, with the people we've studied with, the people we've engaged with, you will see people doing amazing things. So progress has been made. Are we there yet? No. But if you look at the globe and the SDGs, are we there yet? No. There's always a lot of work to be done, but we have the capability, we have the heart, we have the skill, and we can do it. So I think that's what I always kind of take heart in.
Thank you so much, Salma. We have gone 2 minutes over our allocated time, but I just wanted to find out if Gerifori has a perspective as well on this question that Prof. Unger asked. If Gerry is here, is he still here?
No, Beku, he apologized. He had to leave.
Okay. All right. So okay, thank you so much. So moving on. So
but what about Marlene? What is Marlene's view on this?
Oh, Marlene, you want her view. Marlene, your view is very important.
Too much. I thought I spoke too much. I just want to say is that for the first time, and I'm an optimist, I've got nowhere to go than just being an African. I love this country for the people, for not just the diversity, but the heart. But what I've realized, just looking at our stats of COVID, we've moved on, and I don't think we've realized that. There's not a category that say this person is brown and died of COVID, or this person is black that died of COVID. We get the stats of COVID as a country. And it sounds simple, but it's a huge thing because we all need each other. We are interconnected with each other. It is the how we're going to tackle our challenges. And I think being part of the USB family, where we tackle the issues honestly, robustly, and we need to say that it's a cobblestone road that we're all on. If we realize that there will always be an obstacle that's going to come through that because of our past, then we can move on. And that's, Professor Ungere, that's very important that we recognize that. And then when we go into the boardroom, that we don't shout each other down. The gift of a leader is more to listen than to be reactive. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I think you put it very well, Marlene. Thank you so much. Just to round it off, I think maybe Sean Foster, your perspective from there in Saudi Arabia regarding the question that Prof. Unger asked. You are in Saudi Arabia. What is your view of South Africa from there?
Okay, firstly, I've only moved to Saudi 5 weeks ago. Before that, I was in Dubai for 6 years. But the perspective from the Middle East, I think there's often a perception that South Africans that work outside the country try and justify why they are there. And then they badmouth the country. And I think you find pockets of that wherever you go in the world. But the majority of South Africans at my path cross, especially in Dubai, where I spent my time, are proud South Africans with deep roots in the country. They go back every December to see family and friends, and they want to invest in the country. And the umbilical cord is there. So that's the first thing I would say from the South African diaspora and the USB alumni that we cross our paths with. And then the second, I think, if you ask me, and to the earlier point, Molelo's point, is what differentiates the South Africans when they get to the Middle East? Because it's a big cultural jump, and there's a lot of cultural diversity and complexity. Is precisely their ability that we've learned in South Africa to embrace diversity, to accept that different people look at the same thing differently, and therefore in our strength and in the diversity lies the answers. And that's what I find in the South Africans. They're razor sharp, they work hard, but what really differentiates them is embracing diversity and listening in different, complex cultural contexts.
Thank you so much, Sean, for that. Yeah, wow. Sure, this is an interesting discussion. Thank you, Prof. Angara, for those questions. I think you invigorated this debate. So we almost running out of time, but there is one item on our agenda.
Nombeko, I wonder if I can just ask if there are any of the participants that would like to share a nugget on the subject.
Yeah, are there any?
Anybody? I see Cliff is here. There are a couple. One of my classmates, Ahmed, is here. Just wanted to check if there are anybody else who wanted to share something.
I think everyone is reflecting on these gems of wisdom we just had this afternoon. Moving on, we are now moving towards the last item on our agenda. We are now talking about the nomination for the Alumnus of the Year 2021. So now that you have seen the caliber of our winners, now here is your chance to nominate a deserving and outstanding alumni of the business school to be considered for this prestigious recognition. So we invite you to nominate graduates of any of our business school programs, including our MBA program, our PhD program, other master's program, any diploma program, USB, comprehensive executive development certificate programs, anyone who has studied in any of our school program is eligible to participate and be nominated. You have seen the caliber of winners, and you might be our next winner as well. So do consider nominating someone that you know who's done very well and who deserve this recognition. So the alumni that are considered are responsible leaders in both the private and the public sector, entrepreneurs who support the values of the USB and who also act as ambassadors of the business school in their walks of lives. So they need to have achieved all those things in the last 12 to 18 months. So think about people who have been prominent and been mentioned in the media for their good deeds, or people that you know that needs to be recognized, and nominate them. So nominations are now open, and they will close at the end of February in 2022. So you have ample time to think and consider who is deserving of this award in your network. And I'm not sure now what is the next item on the agenda. And I'm not sure as well if we have any pledges. I do not see the information. Will you tell us, Lizelle, if there is a potential winner in our audience, someone who has written the word pledge on the chat box, and then we will select winners. Are there any?
Janine, is Janine, you still here?
Sam, and I was planning on holding back until we've received all the pledges from our audience. Okay. And perhaps we can announce that in an email once we've scrutinized emails, etc., of pledges we've received. Some people obviously want to send that email with the forms attached. So Dr. Mabava, we can then email everyone maybe in a couple of days and announce that.
Okay. Are there any comments, questions, or any reflections on this auspicious event that you want to share with us before we conclude the business of the day?
Can I say something? I mean,
yes, go ahead.
No, I thought this is a very lovely opportunity. I wish there was no COVID. If there was no COVID, I thought it would be very useful if you could be in one room and share real experiences that can inspire those that are still, wanting to be where we are. I thought because we must not move away from personal contact. I know this COVID has said we can, but I think the university can do that. I think it will be very useful, where people come and share experiences, sometimes to share with students who are still learning. Some people are coming from very difficult environments. If I share my story with them, that look, it doesn't really matter what challenges you're going through, you can make it as far as you believe in it. I think that's how we can change the world, because the spoken word is so powerful. I think once Corona is no more there, it might be very important the university to call all of us and be in one room and just talk the whole day to inspire young people. Thank you so much. That's what I thought. It could be very useful.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Perhaps if I may, it's Owen here, Head of Marketing at the Business School.
Hi,
Mr.
Owen.
Matala, I shared with Christelle the fact that when I saw your article in the Sunday Times way back, I actually cut it out and I framed it, and you probably can't see it here. But in this picture, I'm looking at a young man, a genuinely young man. And it says here, while others were at a Shabin, Mosala was home studying. The choice was always between a good and a bad life. There could never be a good life for me without education. And that, I suppose, in many ways, just sums it up. Yeah. I kept the article, I framed it, and I always had it in my office. And anyone who would listen, and I I had a senior position in the company, and I always used your story to encourage other people to study. So I'm now connecting the dots between the article that I've kept and this alumni or alumnus that I'm broadly responsible for. So I think just emphasizes for me the importance of sharing stories like this, and for a young Black man growing up, the role models that we need. And yeah, it inspired me personally, and to the many other people that I shared your story with. It played a big role, to the extent that I think 10 plus people came to the USB just via my ongoing conversations and encouragement. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Owen. That is so inspiring indeed, very inspiring. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are coming to the end of our event, and we want to thank you so much for logging in and recognizing our winners. These are incredible achievers, trailblazers, as I have said before. And to all our previous winners as well, we say to you, keep forging ahead and continue to be brand ambassadors of the University of Stellenbosch Business School. And we say congratulations to all the winners today. And we also say thank you to all our esteemed guests who managed to log in. And remember to pledge to the Future Fund. It's for a good cause. Join the conversation online and continue to engage with us. Thank you so much, and have a good afternoon.